Week 2 officially ended, and we've got an updated draft order here today as we are going to be doing a mock draft as things stand today. People are going to complain about the draft order, tell your team to win some games or lose games. I guess if you're like the Patriots that are 1-1 and you're going to be picking in the mid-teens. Not realistic. This is obviously subject to change, but it's a fun exercise to get to mock some certain players to situations that we're not going to be thinking about a whole lot. So this is the order as things stand today on September 18th. And I'm really excited to get into this one. We will be doing this series weekly throughout the year. So if you guys do enjoy these types of videos, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Helps me out a ton. Lets me know you guys do enjoy the videos. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, which I will leave linked down in the description below. For $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my draft guide, player evaluations, prospect interviews, a lot more college football content over there. Trying to get some new interviews scheduled to put more content up. But we're super excited about this mock draft. We're starting with the same team that was at the number 1 overall pick last week, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is a really interesting one because I think they had a pretty good week too. I still had them in the top 15 of my power rankings. This was the Bengals team that I thought we'd see. Trey Hendrickson played fantastic. Joe Burrow looked comfortable in the pocket, stepping up, making plays happen, which you love to see. The run game, still an issue for this team. Chase Brown showed some explosiveness, but I'm not taking a running back with the number 1 overall pick. I think right now this team is lacking playmakers, and Andre Yoshivas was good. Jamar Chase has been a non-factor. You're missing T. Higgins. They got some pieces there. I also think the defensive line could still improve, but I'm just going to go best player available. The Bengals are a team that I don't really think has to pick a certain position right now because I think they're a pretty talented roster. We're going to just take Travis Hunter here. He does provide you an extra weapon on the offensive side of the football. He could be that receiver if you decide to let T. Higgins walk after franchise tagging him, or he could be that number 1 corner for you. I like Cam Taylor-Britt a ton. I think he is well deserving of that CB1 spot. But Travis Hunter, probably going to play receiver at the next level. There's just more money there, but he gives you versatility on both sides of the ball. I'm going to have him go number 1 overall. Best player in college football. He's just lighting it up right now. I think he makes a lot of sense for the Bengals at 1. And number 2, we got my Indianapolis Colts, and this secondary is an absolute disaster. And that being said, I still kind of want to take a defensive lineman because their run defense has been so putrid. But again, I'm not going to overthink this one. I think it's Will Johnson, and the cornerback from Michigan. He is the best player in this draft class. He's 6'2". He's got length. He can defend the run. He's super fluid in coverage. He might not have these major splash plays like a guy like Benjamin Morrison might have or Malachi Starks. He's not the most fast, super fluid athlete in the world, but he is a very good player. I think Will Johnson is an elite talent, and I've got him going at number 2 to the Indianapolis Colts. At number 3, we got the Tennessee Titans, and there's a couple of ways we could go here. I think when you're looking at the state of the league right now and kind of which quarterback prospects have been hitting and which quarterback prospects have been missing, let's just go back the last couple of years. C.J. Stroud was viewed as more of a pocket passer. He's not this massive playmaker. He has been fantastic. Joe Burrow was viewed in that same way. He's been fantastic throughout his career. These difference maker quarterbacks that are going to make a lot of plays happen with their legs and try and extend plays haven't really hit over the last few years. You look at a guy like Bryce Young, who was viewed in that same way. He got benched for Carolina. You look at a guy like Anthony Richardson. Now, I'm not writing off Anthony Richardson just yet, but hasn't been really the hit exactly. I think he'll be a long-term starter in Indianapolis. But there's just a kind of trend at the quarterback position, and it's these pocket passers that can be calm and collected under pressure. And I think that's what Carson Beck gives the Titans. I was on the record in my power ranking saying I think right now Daniel Jones and Will Levis are tied for the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. And I hold true to that. I think Will Levis is actively losing games for the Titans right now. Just horrible decision-making in key moments for the Titans right now. Beck is a really good quarterback prospect. He's got a great arm, excellent feel in the pocket, incredible athleticism when he does get out of the pocket. He's accurate with the football. And we really have only seen one bad game from him, and it was last week at Kentucky. I'm not going to overthink it. I think Carson Beck is an elite quarterback talent, and I'm going to have him going at number 3 to the Tennessee Titans. At number 4, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a spot where I think Jacksonville might be picking, in all honesty. I know I got a lot of Jags fans that follow me, but this team is a complete disaster right now on both sides of the ball, particularly on the offensive line. I know Anton Harrison's been a good right tackle, but when you look, Cam Robinson's been a disaster on the left side for this team. I think you're good at receiver. I think you could talk yourself into corner. I'm kind of to the point where I think Savon Ravel is the number 2 corner in this draft class over Benjamin Morrison. I'm not going to take him at 4, though. I'm going to go a little bit safe here. I am going to take an offensive lineman, and I'm going to take Kelvin Banks. I still think Will Campbell is the best offensive tackle on this draft class, but Kelvin Banks, I think, probably makes the most sense for this team. Really athletic, has an incredible and uncanny ability to just get into the second level and just lay some incredibly powerful blocks. But on top of that, he's got some upside in pass protection. Will Campbell's had a bit of a down year so far. I still have him as my OT1, but I think Kelvin Banks right now, he's playing incredible for a Texas team. He's really good in motion, which I think when Doug Peterson's fired, you're going to see a lot more motion with Trevor Lawrence. And I think Kelvin Banks makes a lot of sense to be the number 4 pick to Jacksonville. At number 5, we got the New York Giants, and I am going to go with a quarterback here. And it's really pick your player here. We'll kind of go through the quarterback prospects, give a case for all of them. Shedeur Sanders, I am a Shedeur Sanders truther. I think he's a very good quarterback. The arm strength has looked better when he had protection up front. The mechanics are a little bit inconsistent, but he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in all of college football. Really, what you question with him is his maturity and his leadership abilities. That might push him down draft boards. It really might. It's not something I'm too worried about. Quinn Ewers has taken leaps and bounds. He's leaps and bounds better than he was last year in terms of playing on time, playing in structure, and his ability to play out of structure as well. His ability to make plays happen on the run, I think, are really impressive. Cam Ward looks like one of these massive risers. He's been so accurate, so consistent with his ball placement with the football. He's very comfortable on the move. He's looked great. Jalen Milroe, I do think, is playing himself in a first-round consideration. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's got to improve the accuracy a little bit, but like his athletic ability and his arm are all things that you feel pretty good about. And then you get into like Drew Aller, another guy that's pretty raw, but it's got a cannon. Connor Wigman, Jackson Dart's playing great, but that Ole Miss team's tough. There's some really good quarterbacks here for the Giants. I'm going to go with who I think I want to say I have him as my QB2 right now. I think he's moved up into that category. And that's going to be Cam Ward from Miami. I am in on this Miami team. I think he's playing incredible football right now. His abilities that he is showing in terms of his accuracy have looked great. And my prospect spotlight at the beginning of the year, I talked about my big issue with Cam Ward was, is he going to be, can he make his passes look clean? He looked very uncomfortable at times with Washington State. His mechanics were all over the place. He's cleaned those up incredibly well for Miami this year, and he looks like a home run pick. I think he's going to end up being a first rounder. He's playing great, and I've got him going number 5 to the Giants. And then Carolina, I'm going to take Quinn Ewers. I know he just got injured, but I think this is a guy that's playing some of the best football of his career. The injuries are going to be a concern with Quinn Ewers, but the arm talent is undeniable. If he can be a little bit more accurate on these deep passes, you might have a stud there. He's played in a lot of these motion-type offenses, get the ball out of your hands quickly, RPO schemes, and I think he's thriving and built to win. So I like what Quinn Ewers has shown, a guy that I was pretty low on coming into the year. He has moved up tremendously up my draft boards, and I think he's pretty firmly a first-round quarterback at this point in the cycle. At number 7, the Baltimore Ravens. Who would have thought they would be 0-2 through the first 2 games? And there's a very realistic chance that this team is 0-5 to start the year. They got Buffalo, at Cincinnati, and Dallas as your next 3 games. I know they play Dallas this upcoming weekend, but this team's all over the place. I think the offensive line is still a disaster in Baltimore right now. I think that the weaponry is a big concern I have with this team. I like Zay Flowers. I got Zay Flowers up on the wall above Jonathan Taylor. You guys can't see it. He's there. I like Zay Flowers a ton. I like Isaiah Likely a ton. They really don't have a go-to number 2 guy outside of Zay Flowers, though, and that's a bit concerning if I'm a Baltimore fan. And that all that being said, I still think I'm going to take an offensive lineman because I just don't know what the offensive line is going to look like. And it's really interesting because I think there's a few ways you could go. Will Campbell is still my offensive tackle number 1 in this draft class. I think he's got some of the best pass protection upside in the class. But this is a Baltimore team that wants to run the football. Emory Jones is that guy for you. I think he can kick inside to guard if you do believe Roger Rosengarten is the long-term answer. And you can put Emory Jones right in there. He can be the guard for Daniel Faalele. But if you're going to take a guard, I kind of think Tyler Booker is the pick. I know number 7 super high. I know some people like Jonah Savanaya out of Arizona as well. He's kind of a back end of the first round talent for me at this moment. So I'm not going to pick him. But I think I'm going to go Emory Jones. I think this is the highest we've had him so far. And I think he's a really good player. I think he's one of the most athletic guys in this draft class at the tackle position. He moves very well in space. His ability to get up to the second level and land blocks is impressive. And he's just really light on his feet. I think that's your right tackle of the future or right guard. I kind of want to move Emory Jones to guard, keep Rosengarten at tackle, and then I feel pretty good about the right side of that line. So I'm going to take a chance here. I know all the receivers are on the board, but I think this team has to address the trenches, and I think Emory Jones is the answer for this team. At number 8, the Denver Broncos. We're going to see the first full-time wide receiver come off the board here in Luther Burden. I know a lot of people love Tetairoa McMillan, myself included. I think they're 1A, 1B. But I do lean Luther Burden because I think he's more dynamic and more versatile. McMillan is going to be that jump ball, go-get-it guy for your team. He's a good route runner. He's pretty athletic after the catch, but I don't want pretty athletic after the catch. I want very athletic, and that's Luther Burden. I think he profiles best as a slot receiver, but I don't think that's where he's strictly going to play. He was absolutely phenomenal against Boston College this weekend. He's got some of the most electric speed in the draft class. You can get him the ball on bubble screens, short crossers, and he can turn it into a massive play. But he has contested catch ability. He has great ball tracking ability down the field. There's a lot to really, really like about Luther Burden. I'm going to take him here at number 8. I think he fits perfectly with this Denver team, and he gives Bo Nix a weapon to work with. At number 9, we got the Los Angeles Rams, and I mean, you look at the cornerback room, it's pretty decimated. They came into the year knowing they had an older room. I don't love that, though. I think we could see another offensive tackle come off the board because Will Campbell's fallen, and I think this is a really good value for them. Alaric Jackson is their starting left tackle. I don't feel great about that long term. He's on IR right now. Will Campbell is a pass-protecting tackle. That's what he does best. And this is a Rams team that wants to throw the ball more than anybody. He's a big tackle. He's not the most athletic, but I think he's the most fundamentally sound tackle. I'm going to take him here at number 9 for the Rams and just try and keep this offensive line intact. This is an offensive line that has been decimated by injuries up to this point, and I think they desperately need a move. At number 10, we got the Washington Commanders, and a really interesting team. I think they would have been the Will Campbell spot 100% if he's still on the board. I don't really think they think twice about it, but he's gone. I think that the way the board has fallen, they're going to be looking in the secondary or they're going to be looking for a receiver. I think receiver is kind of a sneaky need for this team. Terry McLaurin is not being used in this offense at all. I know they drafted Luke McCaffrey way higher than he should have gone, but I don't know. I think the receiver is kind of a slept-on need for Washington. I think I'm looking at Tetairoa McMillan. I'm like, I kind of like that pickup here for them, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I think corner is a big need, and I hinted at it earlier. I am taking Savon Ravel here to the Washington Commanders. This guy is 6'3", coming off one of his best games against App State, had a pick six. He is so versatile. He can play off coverage. He can play zone. He can play press, which you really like. There's just so much to really, really love about Savon Ravel. I've got a prospect spotlight coming on him this Friday. Stay tuned for that. He is one of my favorite prospects in the draft. And I think he is leapfrog Benjamin Morrison for me as CB2. I'm all in on this East Carolina kid. I think he's fantastic. And a Washington team that needs size on the outside, they need physicality, they need tackling. I think Ravel gives them the upside to do that. So he's going to be the pick here at number 10. At number 11, we do have the Cleveland Browns, and I think you look at the way the board has fallen, you can now get a secondary pass rusher for Myles Garrett, but why not do it on the interior? I'm going to take Mason Graham, who's arguably the best player in this draft class, coming off one of his best weeks of the college football season. He's big, he's powerful, he can defend against the run, he's a great pass rusher. He's got a lot of tools there that you feel pretty amazing about if you are a Cleveland fan. Now you got Mason Graham on the inside, Myles Garrett on the outside with Zadarius Smith rotating in and out. Yeah, that could be a home run for the Cleveland Browns. At number 12, we got the Bears, and I do think we are going to start looking offensive line early for this team. And I know we talked about Jonah Savanaya possibly going later. That's still going to be the case, but I think the interior of this offensive line is horrible. I'm taking Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker is one of my favorite prospects in this draft class. I think he's a top 20 player, and he should be picked as one. He's about 320 pounds, so you can move him out to tackle, but I think he profiles best at guard. His size is phenomenal. He is just so nasty as a blocker with incredible length on the inside to just keep defenders away. I mean, Caleb Williams got sacked 7 times against this Texans team. Tackle's a need for them, no doubt. But I think right now I want to take a look at the interior because I don't trust Nate Davis right now. I don't think any of their guards, Tevin Jenkins can't stay healthy. Tyler Booker, I think, gives you versatility, flexibility on the line. And I think it's a much-needed addition for Chicago. So I'm going to take him here at number 12. And then at number 13, just the way the board has fallen, I think Tetairoa McMillan falls into a perfect situation in Dallas where he's just going to be this physical freak for this team. They kind of need that number one, like, go-get-it guy, I guess. CeeDee Lamb feels like a deep threat and, like, these kind of, like, big plays. But McMillan can be that reliable, just I need a catch on 4th down, get it to McMillan. I think that could be instantly the best duo wide receivers in the NFL. McMillan, we talked about, he's right up there with the guy like Luther Burden. I think McMillan's a fantastic piece, and I love this fit for him here in Dallas. I'm going to take him here at 13. At 14, we got to start asking ourselves a question. Is Tua going to play? Because if Tua doesn't come back, I think there's a quarterback 10 times out of 10. Shedeur Sanders, I think, kind of fits this offense perfect with his quick release, his ability to get the ball out of his hands quickly. I really like that. But right now, Tua is still the quarterback, and that's something that we got to kind of factor in. They couldn't stop the run of the Buffalo Bills the other night, so we're going to take an interior defensive lineman. I want to take Deion Walker. I think that is going to ultimately be the pick. I think he is. I compared him to Christian Wilkins, who they let walk. I think you desperately need to improve the interior defensive line. Walker is more of a pass rushing type 3 tech, but he could be a better run defender. He's got to do a better job at taking on double teams, but definitely has shown some upside in that regard. I'm going to take a flyer on him here at 14 and hope that he could be my long-term defensive tackle. Anybody's would be better than what they've got right now on that front. For the Raiders here, I mean, I don't see how you could not take Shedeur Sanders. I think the value's too good. Arguably the best quarterback in this draft class. I'm sorry. He just is. Yeah, there are concerns about the leadership and the character. I get that. But he's still an incredible talent with accuracy across the middle of the field, can throw the ball to all 3 levels. He's a very smart football player coming from a football family. I think he fits perfectly in Vegas. It's a team that's 1-1 despite bad quarterback play. And he's got weapons that he can immediately get the ball out to in Brock Bowers and Devontae Adams. Love this fit for him here at 15. I think it is a very interesting situation. At number 16, we got the Green Bay Packers. This is an easy pickup for me. It's going to be Benjamin Morrison. Some people have him as their CB1. I'm not one of those people. I think Benjamin Morrison's a great player. I think he's got great athleticism, really good physicality. He is a press corner through and through. And when you look at the way that Jeff Hafley wants to run his defense, Benjamin Morrison is the perfect guy for that defense. I love this fit for him in Green Bay. Opposite of Jair Alexander, I think it's a home run. I don't really have any negatives to say about him. He's a great player. This is a really good corner class, though. And I think he fits pretty perfectly with Green Bay, who's got some issues in that secondary. So I'm going to take him here at number 16. At number 17, we got the Detroit Lions. Bit of a surprise here that they are 1-1. They should have beat Tampa, ideally, but here we are, and they're a really interesting one. I think you can look pass rusher. All the edge rushers are still on the board for this team, and I think we are going to go with James Pierce Jr. He's still my number one edge rusher. I know I talked about it in my Nick Scorton prospect spotlight. Pierce just brings some insane burst in athleticism off the edge that I just don't think you're going to see very often. And he fits pretty perfectly with Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson is more of the power rusher, the guy who's going to win with physicality and get underneath your pads. Now you've got James Pierce playing on the opposite side as this designated pass rusher who can just wreak havoc. He can be in the backfield in the blink of an eye. He is off to a bit of a slow start right now for the Tennessee Vols, but I think he's an incredible talent and love the fit here. So I'm going to take him at number 17. At number 18, the San Francisco 49ers. Another really interesting team to pick for. Not really sure where to go with this one, to be quite honest with you. I think edge is still kind of a need for them. If I go edge, I'm going to go a little bit different than what I normally have. I think I am going to do that. I know he's listed in the D-line category, but I am going to take Mykel Williams, just a freak athlete at like 300, or not 300 pounds, like 250 pounds, super quick, insane length in terms of his arms. I mean, he is just a freak athlete at the position. And I think he makes all the sense in the world. You need another player opposite of Nick Bosa. This is a guy that has not developed any sort of pass rush tool bag yet, but it is slowly developing. He's a great run defender right now, and I feel pretty good about that. He's a guy that is flying up draft boards. Love his fit here in San Francisco. I'm going to take him at 18. And then at 19, I think it's got to be an edge rusher. I'm going to take Abdul Carter here just because of his versatility. Played linebacker last year for Penn State, was phenomenal. Now he's a full-time edge rusher. When you watch this Eagles team, they don't have anybody that I trust to get to the quarterback on any given play. I just don't think they've got that piece right now. That is concerning. You have to have that guy, and they don't right now. So until they can get that piece, this is going to be a defensive line that is just going to get absolutely torched. I worry about them against the Saints on this upcoming Sunday because they just can't stop the run. They can't really defend that front seven. If you're giving Derek Carr time to pick your defense apart, there's going to be concerns. I think it's got to be Abdul Carter here because he also could play linebacker, which has also been a big concern. So I just like the versatility he provides to this Eagles team. For the Patriots here at number 20, tough spot for them because they've been a pretty solid team. I don't expect it to continue. I mean, Nick Gordon's still on the board. I don't trust the edge room. Keon White's been great. I think that would give you a really nice pass rush duo with Christian Barmore coming back. That's going to be a tough front to defend against. Harold Perkins you could put in the mix here. You could go with a wide receiver. Isaiah Bond, I think, would be electric for the Patriots. But I think offensive tackle is still kind of a need. You need your long-term left tackle of the future. And this is going to be where we take Jonah Savaiinaea. I'm butchering the name. He's having a really, really good year for Arizona. I had him as a second-round grade coming into the year, playing his way up into a firm first-round grade conversation. He's looked great for the Wildcats, a Wildcats team that has struggled a little bit. But that being said, really like what we've seen from him. I think he's got all the tools in the world to develop into an elite player. Maybe profiles best at guard, so maybe he could be your left guard, but I also think he can play tackle. He's got familiarity there. So we're going to take him, versatile chess piece to kind of move around the offensive line that I feel pretty good about if I'm a Patriots fan. At number 21, there's a Jets team that I think has to go with an edge rusher. Jermaine Johnson goes down. Still haven't paid Hassan Reddick at the time of this recording. Nick Scorton's still on the board. I think it's got to be the move. Scorton is arguably the best pass rusher in this class. I've got him as my number 2 edge rusher. Just the way the board fell, I had him drop a little bit, but man, there's so much to like about this guy. He can move exceptionally well. He's a great run defender. Maybe a little bit stiff in terms of his hands, but he showcases an elite spin move. I think they got to go with Scorton. Malachi Starks is another player that I considered here because safety is still kind of a need. I think Malachi Starks is a top 15 player in this class. There's just not a lot of teams looking for safety up at the top of the board. I really like Nick Scorton's fit with the Jets, though. He fits the defensive front perfectly as that 4-3 edge, can blitz a little bit, defend the run, which they have not been able to do super efficiently. I love this pickup for the Jets. At number 22, we got the Arizona Cardinals. It's got to be defense. This offense, I said it in my power rankings. They might have the best offense in football right now. So kind of where do you want to go with this team? I want to go linebacker, but I know Arizona Cardinals fans are going to be scarred if I take another linebacker to this team. Even though Jalen Walker's slowly playing himself into the consideration, Harold Perkins still remains LB1. I've moved Jalen Walker up significantly because I had him as an edge coming into the year. He was low on the edge rush rankings, but as a run defender, as a pass rusher, as a linebacker, I love that fit. He probably will. He might sneak into the first round later. I kind of like the cornerback room too. I think it's young. Edge is where I would like to go, but I don't like the way the board has fallen. So we're going to take an interior player. Kind of where do you want to go with this? Do you want to go with the upside in terms of pass rush, or do you want to get just a surefire good run defender? And I'm going to do that. I'm going to take Kenneth Grant from Michigan, an elite run defender. I wouldn't say an elite run defender, but he is a better run defender than a pass rusher. But don't let it fool you. He's got pass rushing tools. He's got a tool bag in there that I feel pretty good about if I'm a Cardinals fan. And him, Darius Robinson on the inside could make for some really fun matchups. So I'm going to take him there at number 22. At number 23, the Atlanta Falcons. I bet you they were wishing one of these edge rushers were still on the board, whether that is a James Pierce, Nick Scorton, any of those guys. Just didn't end up falling to them. I still think they need a CB2, and there's some different guys that you could consider here. I'm going to take Denzel Burke, though, out of Ohio State. Really good athlete, physical at the catch point. He's good in press coverage. He's got speed to win down the field. I think sometimes he can be a little lazy in coverage, which is kind of my concern with him. But overall, a really, really good player. I think he makes all the sense in the world for a Falcons team that needs to address the secondary because you got good safety play. AJ Terrell's an all-pro level corner. And outside of that, I really don't trust this. So I like Denzel Burke's fit quite a bit in Atlanta. At number 24, the Kansas City Chiefs, team that has really no holes. I know a lot of people are going to talk about potentially taking a tackle. That's what I'm going to do because Ariante Ursary is still on the board from Minnesota, and he has been incredible. Another player that has worked his way up my board into that first, second round consideration. Left tackle there for Minnesota, and I think that's perfect. Kingsley really struggled this weekend. I know some people want to say, he's the quarterback or the tackle of the future. I don't really think we've seen anything from him in the first 2 games that indicate that he is the guy moving forward. I kind of want to move him to the right side, get rid of Jawan Taylor, and play Ursary at the left side. I think that gives you some really good bookend tackles. I think Suamate was better at right tackle than he was at left at BYU. I think that could reign true at the NFL level. We know the interior is great. Ursary on the left side, Suamate at the right side. I like the way that offensive line profiles, and I'm going to take him here at 24. At 25, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I want to go quarterback, but the way the receivers have fallen, I got to go with Isaiah Bond, one of the freakiest, fastest receivers you're going to see. He's incredible. I mean, I absolutely love this kid. Was one of my favorite receivers coming into the year, and he has been so good for Texas in that Adonai Mitchell role. He's a great route runner. He's got good hands. The celebration alone is first-round caliber. I think for a Steelers team that is so thin at receiver, you got to get some speed. You got to get some more juice on that outside. And Isaiah Bond and George Pickens could be one of the most fun duos to watch in all of football. At number 26, we got the Houston Texans. I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. We are going to take an interior defensive lineman, but we're going to take Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. Coming off one of his best weeks, and I've said this on numerous occasions, he's probably the freakiest athlete I have ever seen in my life on the interior. Guys just don't move like Walter Nolan moves. He's 290 pounds, played off the edge at Texas A&M last year. He can rush the passer. He's got some run defense upside. Still very much a raw prospect, but I love the things that he has shown this year at Ole Miss. First, second round grade for me. I'm going to take a flyer on the upside here, and I'm going to take him here at number 26. At 27, we got the Minnesota Vikings, and I mean, you could go Tyleik Williams. The interior defensive line has been a major problem for this team the last few years, but they're playing good. I'm going to take a corner here in Tacario Davis, a really big outside corner. Reminds me a lot of Tariq Woolen. He's got good ball skills. Having a bit of a down year so far. He hasn't been super productive for Arizona, but I think he's a great player and a guy that I want to have on my team. We've seen the upside. I think he's great in zones, got good ball coverage abilities. I think Brian Flores would find a lot of really interesting ways to utilize him. So I'm going to take Tacario Davis. The New Orleans Saints are here at 28, and I'm shocked, genuinely shocked that this team is as good as they are. I'm probably going to go best player available here. I know the safety room is okay, but like Malachi Starks shouldn't still be on the board. I'm going to take a flyer on him. I think Malachi Starks in real life will go in the top 20. The way this draft fell, he had to be the pick here. Versatile, can play in the nickel, can play as a single high safety. He's an incredible run defender, really great athlete with fluid hips. I mean, Malachi Starks is incredible, good ball skills. One of my favorite prospects in this entire draft. We're going to take him here at number 28. At number 29, I'm going to double dip at safety in the first round and take Kevin Winston, another incredible run defender and tackler. There's a team in Seattle that wants to utilize their safeties. That's what Mike McDonald wants to do. And I think Kevin Winston is a safety that he would absolutely love. I think he could play him a lot how he used Kyle Hamilton. I'm not comparing him to Kyle Hamilton, but I think there's some similarities there between the two. I love his fit here. I'm going to take him here at number 29. Now, at number 30, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers. A few different ways that this team could go. I would take Ashton Genty, but like the running back room looks pretty set. The edge rush room, I feel pretty good about. I'm going to take a tight end. Colston Loveland still on the board here at number 30. By far the best tight end in this draft class. Comes from Michigan. Jim Harbaugh coached him there. Really athletic. He can block a little bit. Can be a bit of a decoy in the passing game. Really like his fit here on this offense. Team that's still looking for pass catchers. I don't necessarily think there's another receiver that I feel great about taking in round one. But Colston Loveland, I think, is a player that I do feel very good about. So I'm going to take him here at number 30. At number 31, we got the Buffalo Bills. I really like the way that this defense has been playing. I think it's got to be a receiver, but it's like, which receiver do I want to take? Because Io Manor is my number three or four receiver, but I don't think he is playing up to first round hype. I don't think we're going to take a receiver here. I think linebacker could be in play. You look at the way that this linebacker room is. They're constantly battling injuries. I think that's something you could definitely keep in mind. You could go corner. We'll look at the corners that are available. Like, I don't love any of these guys. Jahdae Barron might end up being the pick here. I do really, really like Tommy Hill, though. Tommy Hill is a big wide receiver converted corner that's been very good for Nebraska. Think I'm going to hold off on the first round hype, and I am going to take Jahdae Barron. Really like what he has shown. They moved him to the boundary this season. Played a lot in the slot last year, was dynamic. Now he can play on the boundary, and he's been fantastic. He's one of the more versatile defensive backs in this draft class. I've got him listed as a safety on my rankings. If he's a corner, I think he got real first-round considerations there with him. He's been fantastic. And then at number 32, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know some people want to go corner. I get it. I don't want to go that route. I like the way the O-line is played. I think linebacker is where we're going to go here, and we're going to take Harold Perkins. I think they could use a pass rushing threat from that linebacker position. Levante David isn't getting any younger. they need to add some pieces there. And I think that he could be that piece for you. So we are going to take Harold Perkins with the last pick of the first round. And there it is. There is the first round mock. Love this new feature on this website. You can kind of see everything laid out for you. Let me know, which picks did you guys really like? Which picks did you disagree with? Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That's going to do it for me. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.